Bastards. Today I want to talk about living off grid. It's living off grid is the ultimate fantasy of many preppers. It's actually their ultimate goal. But there is a dark reality about living off grid, and that's you can. The reality is it's hard. You will encounter many obstacles. It will take a lot of effort, time, and yeah, you cannot do it. You can do it alone, but it's like a full-time job. And I live here in Belgium, and yeah, it's a heavily. It's you cannot. There is no place you can live in the wild here. Everything is owned by someone. There is not enough nature to provide for a family, let alone a whole society to say. So, in a way, I shall always be the dependent on some sort of grid, on some sort of system, in a way, because yeah, the system does not allow me to live totally off grid. But no, nevertheless, I try to live off grid as much as I can, and that is my message I want to give to you today. It doesn't matter if you rent a house, if you live in an apartment, if you live in a trailer, if you if you own a house but you are heavily subjected to how do we say this, laws. There is always a way to get more independent, to get more of grid, and yeah, you can even if you can do a few things, make a few things of your own. That's freedom that you gain. That's power you put into yourself, and that's what it's all about. To ultimately live fully independent of grid is very hard, and in a lot of places will never be able to achieve. Not many people will agreeing with this, but I'm talking from a perspective from Belgium and a lot of European countries where, yeah, nature it's heavily urbanized. A lot of places, and even the nature you cannot just go in there and live by that because of law and forest and forestry laws and such. So we got to make the best as we can. In lands like Canada or America, yeah, you can do such things, but I'm talking focus here mainly from the place where I live, from Europe, from Belgium. But even if you live in urbanized areas or such, you can earn some freedom. You can make your own freedom. You can work partially for yourself, and that's what it ultimately is about, gaining freedom, because that's what prepping is. Prepping is to be less independent from others. You survive no matter the circumstances. You adapt to the circumstances. You adapt to your environment. That's what prepping and survival is all about. So how the that is something that might be frightening for beginning preppers, because yeah, we all know the how do we say this, from television programs, or the real doomsday preppers who live somewhere in a forest with a bunker with 20 years of food. They have all these systems to live fully independent, solar panels, wind turbines and such. They do not need anybody. But yeah, that's something I try to achieve too, in a certain way. I try to aspire to. I will know I will never, I will probably never gain to that level. But just like I'm to that level, there are beginning preppers who would aspire to be on my level, and something that's something you need to put out of your head. You do not need to be the best. It's not like Pokemon. You do not have to get it all. You got to do what fits in your environment, in your in your personal situation, your lifestyle. Even if you have a water, something simple as a water filter, that's some freedom, and some freedom that you gain. So since I I personally started prepping at around 17. I started out with just like probably every beginning prepper with just a bug out bag, some extra cans of food, and a water filter in the closet in my bedroom, my bedroom. But I started to get knowledge, get the skills. I build up my preps uh, week by week. It is not it's because that's a mistake that a lot of beginning preppers make. They want too much too quick in a at a certain time. No, you have to build from low, from the most essential stuff to higher up, and try to get more knowledge and more skills in certain areas. So let's talk about, if you try to live off grid, you have to follow the rule of three. Actually, you can live three minutes without air, 3 minutes without 3 hours without shelter in extreme circumstances, 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food, and 3 months without a good shelter, to say. So those are the things you have to start with. So let's start about 3 minutes without air. What do you mean by that? It means that you have the knowledge and skills to how do I put this? To get you out of immediately dangerous situations. Like we're talking here about self-defense, first aid, some situational awareness around you. Those are and some survival mindset. It's also very important. Always have something to live for. Always have the will to survive. If you do not have that, then even the best survivalists will have perished in some examples in the past. So I would try to advise to get first those skills. Go, if you want to live off grid. This is the first step you have to take. Get some skills and knowledge. Try to learn every day. Learn first aid skills so you can mend wounds, illnesses, and other and not only for yourself but also for others. So you're not dependent immediately dependent on professional medical help and the police for in the case of self-defense. You have that way. That's the first step. That's the 3 minutes of air I'm talking about, and the situational awareness. All right. If you have those skills, I would advise to get to the next level, and that is water. You can only live 3 days without water. So if you doesn't matter where you live, always have some way to gain drinkable water. So the best thing to do this is find a way to get that water. Is it a water filter system? Is it even one of those small live straw filters that you can drink immediately out of? Get skills and knowledge from where is water in my area and how can I clean it, or where can I get clean water. Get pans, pots to cook water in. So yeah, those are the things you have to start as first. Those are the things you have to invest first, since because this is actually an investment if you think about it. So get a live straw, get a camping hiking filter, get a Berkey water filter. That's probably a big investment, but with a Berkey water filter, like you saw in my previous videos, you have 11 years of drinkable water with that system, and it can filter almost anything. So that's the first thing I would advise to really invest in immaterial things. All right. So we're coming to the next thing. 3 weeks without food. So food. What are we talking about when you want to live off grid? You can make a pantry, but a pantry is not really living off grid. That's like to get in case of failed harvests, or when food is scarce. That's something to bridge that period between food scarcity and trying to be able to make your own food. So like you perhaps I will show you if you can see. I got here my gardening plots, and in the back too. And I got my chickens and my guinea pigs. So this is just a small example. I'm not how do I say this? I'm not really the most cynical guy. These are all just built over the years. I'm even at it, even after 8 harvests, I'm still learning. It's a process, continuous process that you will learn, make mistakes, and don't forget that. If you're trying to live off grid or partially off grid, you will make mistakes. Everyone will make mistakes. Because even if you have the best information from books, from other preppers, from YouTube, I don't know where, you will make mistakes. There will be harvest fails because of insects. Perhaps you live in your soil is not that good. There is something wrong with your way of fertilizing. So those things can happen, and that's why we have a pantry with a food stock. So don't forget that. Don't be discouraged if you harvest fail once or twice. Don't be discouraged. Learn from your mistakes, because only a crazy person will do the same thing and respect and expect the same results, like Einstein would say. All right. So you can do some simple gardening, even if you live on an apartment. You can do some gardening by having one of those indoor gardening systems with UV lights. You can put some gardening on a balcony. If you live in a rent house or in an apartment, you can even rent, how do you say this, a volks tuintje. How do you say this in English? One of those. The best way to describe this is a victory garden. That's some piece of gardens that people set up next to the city where they live in, or the village, and there they grow their food. So it's like a piece of a plot that you rent to make your food on it. So that's also a way to get food. If you live in an apartment, quail, rabbits, guinea pigs are simple animals that can provide meat, eggs, and hide in a way that is legal for when you live in an apartment. If you live outdoors, something simple is our chickens. Chickens do not need that much care. They lay eggs. You have food. You can get meat from them. If you have a rooster with the chickens, you can get a staple. You can try to breed with them, and that way you have some sort of staple food way of producing food. My guinea pigs, like you probably saw in the previous videos, they breed fast, so that's also a way to get meat and how do you say this, hide. And both animals do not need a lot. The guinea pigs only need sometimes a carrot, and I pick grass from when I take a walk. So that's the only thing they actually need, and of course some fresh water. But that way, oh, forgot about it. I will talk about it in a minute about the water. And yeah, the chickens, they only need sometimes some grain or some corn, and that's all they really need. They're simple animals, and you can give your leftovers to them. It's really simple in that way. So if you want if you want to get some, every meal that you make is a meal that you save. So that's something you need to think about. You cannot fully get. I have a small patch of land here, but I know this is will not be enough to get to to make food for me, for one person, for a whole year. I will not be able to do that, but I can do it partially, so I can bridge that period if I need it. All right. I talked about water. Something simple you probably seen in previous videos is my water barrels from my rain barrels. That's something simple you can do. Use rainwater, and if you have a filter system, you can filter that water and use it for drinking, cooking, washing. Yeah, just get some rain barrels, put them to your gutter, make them connected to your gutter, and have them and filter them. That way, you empower not only for drinking water. You don't have to buy bottled water or be dependent, or mostly be dependent on the public water system. So invest in that. That's also a good way to gain more power for yourself. Like I said, for cooking, washing, even. All right, where was I now? Oh yeah, food production. Yeah. So every meal that you make is a meal. Every meal that you make is a meal that you do not have to pay. Is what I'm trying to say. And with that, don't forget, we're also, like I said in the first point, skills and knowledge will be very important, especially after shit hit the fan or other situations. You can in a way rent out or give those skills as services in exchange for other goods. So even when you make mistakes, it will pay itself off in a few years. Is what, so those people won't make the same mistakes if you give that advice in a way as a service. All right. So now we are talking about shelter. Like I said, with the rule of 3 months without shelter is the maximum that most people can live without a decent shelter. Is what do I mean by that? We're talking about hot weather, cold weather, rain. You need to be protected from that. Otherwise, your body will get a lower immune system. You will get cold, hypothermia. You get too hot, you overheat. So those are things you also have to take an account in. All right. So if you want to live off grid, if you live in an apartment, that's a way you have a shelter, but you will probably pay a lot of money for that. If you rent a house, to be honest, if you rent a house, especially in Belgium, you cannot do a lot with living off grid because you are not permitted to do some exchanges to the building without the approval of the landlord. So if you are in that kind of situation, try to agree something with the landlord to say I want to make this place a little bit more off grid. Can I build those rain barrels to the gutter? Can I put a little garden in the garden boxes inside of the little place of garden? If the landlord agrees, that's something you can do with some agreements. If you say I will give you some carrots or some potatoes, or the landlord will be pleased that they will not have to use that much water or something. You can try to get some agreement with your landlord that way. All right. Another thing about shelter is security. You can have, like in the first point, with the 3 minutes of air, you can do self-defense, but you also need to, if you want to live off grid, make something to protect it, like a hedge, like a wall, or something simple. Like just something simple as we have a plate where it stands. Here lives a guard. Here we have a guard dog. Something just simple as that can make some burglars go, oh, we don't want to go in there. There are guard dogs in there. I will make a video about burglaring, but that's the thing. Those are the things you need to do for if you want to live off grid protection. And now we're going to talk about the cold in your shelter. If you perhaps can know, I have a regular stove with pellets. But in case of emergency, I can use this little wood stove, even inside. Usually I put them here in my porch, and that way I can just burn everything like firewood that most people even want to give away around here. So that way I make myself more independent. I can cook water for drinking. I can cook for meals. I can cook hot water for washing or washing the clothes, and that's also a way to make you independent. I do not say I use this every time. I could, but it's more like an insurance just in case that the electricity goes down. I'm not independent of higher when the prices of electricity, oil, gas goes up. I can cook almost free with this little investment, with this portable stove, wood stove. So that's something you can do. You can also have one of those small BioLit stoves, and you can cook inside of with an open garage door, cook a meal, boil some water. If you want to live off grid, it will take it's a little bit more dirty, takes a lot more effort and time. But if you want to live off grid, those are the sacrifices you have to make. In case of electricity, like your shelter needs light. Yet again, Yeah, the two ways I manage this if I have to live off grid, and that's here with the solar panels that are hanged to this big battery. That's for in the that's mostly for in the summer, so I can charge all my small electrical batteries and devices. And if you perhaps can see, I got finally I installed the wind turbine. So in the winter, when there is not much sun, it will spin like crazy, and I will still have a way to make electricity even in winter. So that way, I can make the shelter. I can make light for the shelter. Load up some small things like cell phones, laptops, those things. So that's also a way to get independence. It costs a little bit more, but like I said, yeah, I just recently did the wind turbine. But yeah, it's a way to get more independence. Um, and to be honest, I it took a lot of time because I'm not the biggest electrical mechanical in the world. I'm kind of small brained on that in that area, but it doesn't look like that much. But I'm happy with it. It's sufficient is perhaps the best word to say. All right. So yeah, we're. I think we got through all the points. Another thing I forgot with the animals like the guinea pigs and the chickens, I can use their excrements as a fertilizer for my gardening, and I can throw away leftovers of foods that I have to the animals. So not much goes to waste is what I'm trying to say. Always living off grid is try to make the most with the less, make more with less. If you have garbage, try to recoup that garbage into something useful. If you have excrements from animals, use them in the garden. If you have leftovers, feed them to the animals. If you have scrap metal, sell them to an iron merchant. Um, yeah, if you have wood from something that you built, try to use it for your wood stove. Those are all the things that you have to reuse. Which brings me to another point. Um, Tools and appliances. If almost everything that is on the market these days are electrical and dependent on the grid. Yeah, if you have a generator, yeah, you can live off grid, but that's not really off grid in my opinion because yeah, as long as there is oil as something that you cannot make yourself, unless you can make your own biodiesel, but that's advanced prepper things that will only be over 10 years that I probably will do that shit. All right. Where was I? Ah, yeah. Tools and appliances. If you want to live off grid, try to do chores or manual things that you try to do manual things in your house. You don't need a washing machine. You can do the washing with just something that you just in your sink with the water from the rain. If you need to do your washing, look at my video about how to wash clothes off grid. It's just one of those washing plungers. It's 78 years old and it still works perfectly, which you cannot say from a washing machine that needs electrical and runs on a motor. And when it's broke, you need to see some handyman for that, and you need electricity, of course. So, and also I will make a video about tools that do not need electricity. I have a bunch of tools that like drills that you still need to turn. Most of my tools are specially chosen that they do not need electricity, and that's a way you can live off grid. You do things manually. Uh, yeah, I think I'm getting way too far onto this, but with everything I'm trying to say is try to take it slow, take it step by step. There is no end line. The end line is death, and prepping is to extend the period between being alive and being dead. That's the whole game of prepping actually. The last man standing, if you if you want to put it sadistically like that. But yeah, the thing about prepping is you do not The thing, even if you prep, it's not only to survive, it's also to help others. You help people in your community, family, friends, people that are perhaps have it difficult, people that were not prepared, your partner, your children, even your next generation, because the knowledge that you get from prepping now is the knowledge that you will pass through your children, and your children will take the mentality and the skills and the knowledge to their children. So yeah, prepping is a way of life, in my opinion. It's some it's just a no, prepping is nothing special. It's how people lived for millions of years in a way. But yeah, that's a problem these days. If you want to live off grid, like I said, I cannot live fully independent. I will always, in a way, be in a dependent on the grid. Even if I want to live off grid, I still have to pay taxes and other stuff that I cannot do by selling potatoes in a way. Because yeah, we live with more people, and that can create more chaos if we and to create order in that chaos, the governments, companies who want to make profit and sell their products, they actively try to make you more dependent on them. Like a good example is with the smartphones. You can do a lot of things with smartphones, but it makes you dependent on the companies. It makes you dependent on the systems that are inclined with that. I find that appalling, to be honest. They try to make everything more automatically. Everything is more specialized. We cannot do. Most people cannot do a lot of things for themselves. They all are always dependent on a specialized person for small repairs, even small repairs actually. Yeah. So as a prepper, and you aspire to live off grid, take it step by step. There is there is no end goal. It's something that you will have to do day in, day out, but do not do it out of fear, because that's another mistake a lot of preppers make. If you prep out of fear, fear makes you blind. Fear makes you lose control of what is most necessity. Because people who prep out of fear, they will concentrate on the wrong things. Somebody who perhaps fears, how do you say this, fears war, will do everything like make a bunker, but they will not prep for food or something. Like a lot, I see a lot of preppers in the prepper community. I how do you say this? Not all preppers, but a lot of focus in the of a lot of preppers is focused on security. You know, the preppers that are have all the military gear, that are training day in day out with guns, but they do not know how to farm potatoes, which is very odd. So those kind of preppers are, in my opinion, dangerous, because if you have a gun but you do not have the potatoes and you're starving, you're gonna use that gun to take someone else's potatoes. And that's the thing about living off grid. You have to first live for yourself, try to make things for yourself, and what you have over or you can miss, you can sell or trade or give to others. So prepping and trying to aspire to live off grid is in a way helping the community, is helping your neighborhood in a certain way, and also the government, because if more people would prep and try to live off grid, the government will not need to give much assistance during disasters, during war, that can take a lot of materials and personnel from where the real problems start, like an enemy invasion or political embargoes, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that is what I'm trying to say about trying to live off grid. It helps not only you, but it also helps others, and not only in the now, but also in the future, in the next generations, and it also gives inspiration to people around you to say, hey, I'm trying to live, I'm trying to prepare, I'm trying to live off grid. I try to do things from my own. Other people will hopefully get inspired, will try to do the same and try to improve their lives, their mentality, their future, their children's future. So yeah, that's the thing I want to to do with this video. I want to inspire other people. I want other people to help themselves so they can help others. Yeah. So yeah, I went on a little bit of a rant, but you get the gist. So this is the end of the video. Subscribe, it would help me a lot. Leave a comment if you have other ideas to live more off-grid. Leave it in the comments. It can teaches me, can teaches other people that are perhaps looking at the video. Leave a like, all that good shit. Yeah. So see you in the next video and take care.